Hola, hello. Um, I want to talk about the designated forfeit of soul. In other words, what you lose when you plan out a life for yourself, and why you shouldn't have a sequential plan, why you should instead adopt a targeted plan. And the difference between a sequential plan and a targeted plan is that a sequential plan is connected in sequence, whereas a targeted plan is not connected, but it is basically pointed along. And why this is the better option for planning your life, because ultimately, if we look at the designated forfeit of soul in this triangle that I've made, so we see below life and work of the organization as it is experienced as a process, and this equals identity fulfillment. So one's identity is what can be identified. So this is what we are all currently concerned with, our identities. You know, a lot of people who are younger, they're really concerned, super concerned about their identity fulfillment, all that. And so that's the life and work of the organization as it is experienced as a process. So that's like in real time, what's happening with you is identity and identity crisis and all that. But that's at the base of this pyramid, of this arrowhead. And to one side, we have life and work of the organization as it is in the process of becoming, which is the actual creation of humanity. So this is what you actually become. This is, the tangible. This is the physical. This is the perceptible. So this is factually what you become as you scale this pyramid of planning, right? And so if you're doing a sequential plan, I'm going to get to why that is going to be problematic for you ultimately. And it's due in part to the factual scaling of that hierarchy you're aiming at, to rise up. But for now, onto the other side, we have life and work of the organization as it is in the process of being dreamt. And this equals the hypothetical construction of persona. So note, a construction is a negation of structure. In other words, an acceptance of form. Because, someone who constructs, they are working off of a model to create. So they're not actually creating from scratch. They're sort of adapting from a model. And so this is the other part of scaling the hierarchical pyramid, scaling the arrowhead of where of a plan. This is the other part of it. It's it's the hypothetical construction of persona. So a hypothetical construct is something like love. It's something like friendship. It's something like honor, right? Honor is a hypothetical construct, and and the hypothetical construct is basically, it's something we can all agree, or you yourself introspectively can, attest is real, but it is imagined. In other words, it is image active, but it is not It's not, knock on wood, it's not discernible in physics. So the hypothetical construction of persona, this happens at the same time as the actual creation of humanity. And so why is sequential planning bad for you? Why is it bad for anyone? Well, it's bad because these two things are happening simultaneously. And if you're going about reaching your goals in a sequential manner, then you're going to generate the sequential effect of both of these, simultaneously. And that's bad for you because they're going to conflict. There's going to be, they're going to conflict, they're going to contradict one another, because what is a hypothetical construct doesn't align always perfectly with what is actually factually human. So if you're going about, planning your goals in a sequential manner, you're going to hit a whole lot of roadblocks along the way, because you're going to constantly be made aware of the truth that you're not who you are in terms of hypothetical construct, and the fact that you're not who you are in terms of personal individual, as compares to the opposing climb, so to speak, to the opposing simultaneous attainment that is going on, right? That has to be at level, right? So think of it like this, okay? Maybe that was a little complicated trying to explain that, but it's hard to articulate. But basically, the hypothetical construct of persona and the actual creation of humanity, in order to be at peace, have to be at passivity. They can't be still. They can't be still. And so what ends up happening if you are sequentially planning is that when you stop to reflect on either the actual creation of humanity or the hypothetical construction of persona, you're basically, you're sort of trapped to review them through a still frame, because you haven't pointed them at, you haven't pointed upward toward your goal. Instead, you've one-way laned it, essentially, and because you've one-way laned it, you haven't even factored in that you, in order to fully, be satisfied in your attainment of any goal, you have to, have it connected properly, right? So think of a staircase, right? A staircase, a stairway to heaven, so to speak, right? Think of that, and but each step along the way, it's in a pattern of the actual creation of humanity and the hypothetical construction of persona. So, it's black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white. That's the stairway, okay, to heaven. If you have, your black, the actual creation of humanity, steps over here to your right, and you have your white, the hypothetical construction of persona steps over here to your left, they don't make the stairway. They don't make the stairway to heaven. And so you can't then get to your goal, which ultimately is intra-supremacy and inter-supremacy, which equals character fulfillment. So character is who somebody is across time, whereas identity is who somebody is in real time. And so the designated forfeit of soul is basically the loss of this apex of your journey, of this apex of your effort, of this apex of your planning and your observation and your analysis and your inspection. It all becomes a waste if you are sequentially planning. Sequential planning, it never works out. It never works out, but that's what most people do. And they think they're going to find satisfaction in life. They think they're going to find fulfillment. Never happens. Never happens. You know, you don't even need to take my word on that. You can look at you can look at the world optics around you. You can see case examples of people who were sequential planners all throughout their lives, and they're miserable in old age. And you know, even if they're not old yet, they're making themselves more miserable with every passing year. And you can see that. You can just observe it for yourself. You don't need to take my word for that. But the reason why they're all miserable is because they're sequentially planning when they should be targeted planners. They should be planning in a targeted way that points towards their North Star, you know, that points towards their high halo, that points towards their heaven. That's what they should be doing, okay? Uh, because then they can connect both the hypothetical construction of persona belonging to them, and I should say behaving to them, and the actual creation of humanity behaving to them. They can connect it then if they proceed in a targeted manner. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about, the designated forfeit of soul. If you have a design that is sequential to attaining soul, that is exactly how you will lose your soul, sell your soul, everything goes bye-bye, your life sucks. You have no life. It's existence now. That's how you get to that point of eternal misery, you know, forever after, okay? It's because you are a sequential planner. And like everybody is sort of a sequential planner by, you know, surface nature, right? When you observe the surface of a thing, you think, okay, the, you know, Occam's razor, the straightest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line, but people forget that a straight line is a sequence. And it's terrible when you do that, when you take that shortcut, because when you take that shortcut, you can't, you're not connecting along the way as you go. So you're just relating along the way as you go. So it's empty when you get to point B. Anyway, that's what I want to talk about. Have a good day. Peace. Meow.